Hard Knock Media presents Occupy Me, a new science fiction thriller.
Oh, man, the world's gonna end, isn't it?
Yes, but I would also like to say, the world ending is not the end of the world. Let me rephrase.
Occupy Me is a new science fiction audio drama involving an alien invasion, psychic body snatching, and bizarre love triangles.
Christina, for real, only if it's an emergency.
Roxanne, when is it not an emergency?
To listen and subscribe to Occupy Me, find us at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and head to thenerdsofcolor.org for the latest updates.
It's time for Who Watch Time and Relative Blackness in Space.
Black girls have the box.
Hi everyone, it's Connie and Robin coming to you live from the Time Vortex. Today we're discussing episode 3 of Doctor Who Season 12, Orphan 55. In this episode, the Doctor lies, Ryan meets what initially seems like a potential new boo, and the episode takes a turn for after-school special.
Whew. Thoughts?
It was
Initial thoughts?
It was a messy one. I think I was mostly into it until the very end, or into it might be a strong word, but I was mostly fine with it. I was actually, considering the kind of plot that it is, those kinds of episodes usually take me out and I'm not paying attention, but I think I was a black girl, and so I was more invested than I probably usually would have been.
Yeah.
But then it veered real hard into Captain Planet, and I think they could have just dialed it down. And so that kind of and then there was so much going on that thinking about the episode as a whole, in the end I was just that was too much going on, especially with the ham-fisted
Ending.
anvil at the end. Yeah.
I mean, even for me, even before we even got to Martha Jr., she it just jumped.
She had such Martha vibes.
She had such Martha vibes. It was crazy. It jumped in. It felt like it started in the middle of a sentence, which, as who I am as a person and someone with ADD, I'm always getting told that I started my thought or my sentence in the middle of my thought.
You do, but it's fine.
I do. And I was when we started watching it, I was like, wait, did I miss something? And I spent half of it being did I miss the setup? And then it just it went 0 to 60 real quick in 0.2 seconds, and it never let off the gas, but it also never gained any equilibrium. I felt like I spent the whole time wind push or whatever,
seat back.
Yeah, fighting against the the G-force or whatever. I don't know. This metaphor has gotten away from me.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, so I feel overall, this was a mess. There was way too much. They were trying to do too much and not doing anything. Unlike other episodes where we'll talk about how I couldn't follow the plot. I followed the plot fine. I knew what was happening. I just didn't understand the pacing of it. I was we're not taking any breaks. There's no beats. Who's this person? Who's this person? Oh, what's their issue with each other? Oh, does it not matter? I guess it doesn't matter because we're still moving on. We're still rolling. You know what I mean? On to the next thing. So it felt like that to me.
It was definitely a break speed situation going on. And I think that was part of the point, but it wasn't executed very well because there are too many people.
Way too many people. They're talking too fast. And so I think, people have been saying how historically, I guess, just regularly, the second, third episodes of the season kind of suffer. And so they were kind of in keeping with that, this is
Oh,
This is that episode, or the dip in the season, and like, yes, but I worry because we talked about it last season, and I think they did a better job in Spyfall, but I also think Spyfall was just kind of just like masterful in a way, because it was very plot driven and it wasn't very character. Besides the master, like,
yeah.
we didn't dive really deeply into like characters, like,
Right.
backstories. But this one was like both of those things. Like, it was like a lot of characters, plot driven, and they were trying to delve into all of these characters' backstories, and I was just like, ugh. And it's giving me a little bit of like anxiety that we will never fully get to meet Yaz or fully understand like Ryan's relationships and, you know, 13, because they fundamentally will not let the episode breathe. Or the episodes breathe. And I think this was a great setup, and this plot would have been a great setup to not actually have extra people. It's just fam on vacation, and like, this is happening, and like, you know, you have the people running the hotel, like, who they bump heads with, but like, they're not, we don't, you know, they don't need to have motivations or stories, they're just in the way. I think, so I feel like it wasn't good. But it wasn't like Bayana, quotes from Bayana, it wasn't Sleep No More. But it also was giving me...
But it's still in that, like, vibe. Like, it's in that genre of Doctor Who episode that Sleep No More is.
Yeah, I mean, well, I just think that I woke up being like, oh, God, I don't know if they're ever going to be able to strike a balance, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Spyfall, like, was able to, like, I still think we'll have good episodes, but I don't know if we'll ever be able to strike a balance of character versus plot if they're just going to continue to, like... I mean, hey,
focus
you know,
on everyone else.
Everybody get a job. You get a check. You get a check. We all get checks. You know what I mean? Like, they're just out here employing all of Britain.
The other half of Britain that has
the other half of Britain, the other 5 actors. They're just out here like giving everyone a shot, and that's cool. But
like, give our people who we actually have on the show consistently some work, because even last week, like, they introduced the fam. Like, reintroduce them, like, in case you forgot, Graham's a bus driver. But, like, no, but after that, we didn't get any, we got, like, character moments between a couple of them, like, Yaz and Ryan got to, like, be friends and, like, establish that they're cool and whatever. But it was few and far between, considering it's, like, this big opening episode. And so I thought that, like, now that we've moved on from this big opening episode, that's just, like, remember who these characters are. Like, that makes sense. It's perfectly fine. Like, we've established and reestablished who they are and who they are to each other. And then I thought that moving forward, we would be like, okay, this is how they are together in a crisis. But, I mean, they immediately split up when they get to the planet. And so we get very few moments of them together, because they, not only because there are so many other characters, but because they just immediately leave each other.
Yeah. And, like, they do this thing where they have each member of the fam meeting someone new. So they're all then paired with new people at one point in this episode. And I was just like, why? So this is all Graham's fault. He, like, you know, peak old guy, peak grandpa, is collecting coupons. He started noticing that they were getting coupons from one of the rooms. What did he call it?
TARDIS.
One of the coffee rooms or something like the
I don't remember. I just remember he said upstairs, or maybe it's downstairs.
Maybe it's downstairs. Like, yeah. One of the rooms in the TARDIS, they are getting these coupons, and he starts to collect them. Puts them together and realizes that it makes a teleport, and they're teleported away from the TARDIS. They stay leaving the TARDIS.
Listen,
in the
Sexy
vortex.
is going to be like, if you want to keep leaving me, I will leave you.
Right. Like, just park me and lock up. That's all I ask, you know?
Put the alarm on. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep. just like have me out here floating. You don't even have autopilot on. All of a sudden, I gotta like wake up because I'm about to crash.
Like literally, where was the TARDIS?
Right.
Like, I don't know where they were.
And that was the other thing is that they made it seem like the teleport was also like a time vortex manipulator. What did Jack call them? Jack and River love those things.
Yeah, a vortex manipulator.
Yeah, because Hyphen, who is their like activities director, they meet when they get to the planet, was like, oh, it'll put you right back where we got you from or something. And I'm like, how'd that work?
Right,
honestly.
But only after 2 weeks, so like they couldn't just go back.
Yeah.
Which was like, that seems like a hostage situation.
Right.
Like that's worse than a cruise, where it's like, well, I'm just stuck here. Can't leave.
Yep. Just on this planet. Don't know where this planet is. Sorry to this planet. If I saw this planet walking by, I wouldn't know a thing.
Except that they would. It's just like the twist, I guess.
We'll get there.
Which we'll get there.
But yeah, so they land on this planet, this fakecation. And that's like also the name of the company, I think.
I think
because they kept saying like fakecation, and like, you know, I watched with subtitles and like it was like capitalized. So I was like, okay.
Yes. Same.
And then immediately, like they're like, we're gonna go look around. We're about to, you know, enjoy this all-inclusive vacation.
Thankfully, Graham did not get his Speedo.
No, he was threatening Speedo. He didn't even get there because he just sat down, and then it's a drill. Threats, alarms going off, and like, Graham did say, which I thought I appreciated in like terms of like how I would be as a companion. He was like, is this I know this is the doctor. Like, just like he had just got his drink. He was like, really, like, I'm not even, my feet, like, one foot is up. I don't even got, the second foot isn't even up yet.
Halfway off the ground yet.
Yeah, I'm like, can I just, give me 5 minutes?
Listen.
So, Graham goes to sit down. Yaz goes to check out the pool, and when she meets this older couple, Verma.
She interrupts their proposal.
I know, Benny's about to propose. He's like popping the question, and Yaz's like, this is lovely.
Hey, what's up?
How is it going? Like this whole expanse of like poolside.
And she rolls up,
like right up to the two people sitting on their own. There's also only like 30 people at this hotel. Less than 30 people at this hotel. So, you know, space was abundant. And introvert Robin was like, wow, can't relate.
Absolutely. Just like, no, thank you.
Strolling.
Like, girl, you came here with 3 people.
Right.
You can talk to one of them.
Talk to one of them. No stranger danger. So, Benny's, getting ready to propose to Verma. Ryan is like, all-inclusive bet food. Goes straight to a vending machine. And gets got by a hopper virus.
Which was unrelated to the other thing, right?
Kind of. So...
Because I lost the thread on where...
Yeah, I just...
related to the aliens that were attacking them later.
In my little mini rewatch, because I didn't really fully rewatch it, I watched like the first 10 minutes of it right before we were recording. The doctor realizes that like the hopper virus isn't like a natural, like someone said it. And Bella, so Ryan gets hit by a hopper virus. The doctor is luckily like right there and is like, oh, I know what to do in the situation. Does
have hopper virus training or
hopper
something
virus
like
training, yeah. Does some quick, you know,
doctor stuff.
ER work. That's what it's called. First aid. Triage. So some quick first aid stuff. And then sets Ryan down next to Martha Light, aka Bella, who's also like one of the things is whilst recovering from a hopper virus, you need to suck your thumb, which I was like, cool, got that. I have like 14 years of practice with that. So she sits him down next to another woman who's sucking her thumb, Bella. Bella set those viruses for her convoluted plan.
Oh, so that they would evacuate.
Gotcha. And that's also why she's sucking her thumb, because as she was setting her trap, she also got, I assume. or she was just pretending to have gotten got. I don't know.
Yeah, she was lying basically the whole time. Like, everything she said the first, 10 minutes we knew her was all a lie.
Complete lie. So, I hate you. I just saw White Lady Kane.
I just had to make it clear. Yep. I wrote Kane and black girl, and I was like, well, she's white. We just had to make it plain. So basically, well, I guess we have to. Kane is helping to run this facility.
I think she opened it. I think she might own it.
Yeah, because that's why she left her family, or whatever. Doesn't make any sense. So she's in charge of this facility, and she is very aware that the dregs, as we later learn they are, keep, I guess, coming into the space, so they have to constantly clear them out because they're not supposed to be on this planet. They're just not supposed to be here. And so she's just but whatever, it's fine because every once in a while they come and we just take care of it. Yeah. But it's out of control this time, and so she and her crew of hotel workers are constantly doing this, but obviously the situation gets crazy out of hand, and we have our 70-person cast of characters to keep up with, but it's just one of the many twists of this episode, because it just needed so many is that she is Bella's mom. And I was just like, I'm sorry, what?
Right. So, but here's the thing. So she, so Bella is lying. Bella's actually there to blow up the hotel and take revenge on Kane, who is her mother. Kane says Kane doesn't even recognize her. She's walking around with this girl for 10, 15 minutes.
Yes. In a life or death situation.
In a life or death situation, and doesn't realize that's her daughter. So, F. Kane. Hope she was sending child support. But she says that she left her family to start this hotel to leave to her daughter. And it's well, why don't you just get a job somewhere or start a hotel somewhere with her? I don't know, being a hotelier doesn't seem like you need to abandon. Maybe you're a workaholic, cool, but you don't completely.
And you're sick, baby daddy. It was unclear if they were married or not. I mean, I feel like Doctor Who is very much they were married for sure kind of show. Because, it's not like people have kids out of wedlock ever. But it's very, I don't know, it's just you just left your sick. I don't know if he eventually got sick after Mama left or whatever, but, because, the whole thing is just so complicated.
But either way, she left and, and ghosted. Because it's also, if you're creating this thing for her, that also doesn't mean that you can't write, you can't Skype.
It doesn't make any sense.
You don't just,
and I can't tell if that's more, that's what they were going for with the character, or if the plot... all these many backstories, got out of their hands. They got too... Edheim, however you say his name, got, too overwhelmed with the 70 characters that exist in this. Yeah,
it was very confusing. The motivations and not even the motivations, the logic behind all of the characters' actions were very confusing to me. The logic behind, I'm building this hotel and everything that I did was for her... does not equal, so I abandoned her so I could do all these things for her. I'm that don't make no sense. Because really plenty of people, you can ask my mom and dad. They sacrificed a lot for me. You know what they didn't sacrifice? Spending time with me. Raising me. They gave up on a lot of stuff. But that, translated in them, always being around.
Right, the opposite of that other thing?
Yeah, the opposite of just ghosting. Ghosting so hard that you don't even recognize her?
That's crazy.
It was very confusing.
Pretty wild. And then, just a side note. So, for some reason, I clocked that. So, Bella and Ryan were, you know, the alarm's going off. They're like together being attacked by dregs, and then they get saved. And Graham, who'd been separated, like finds them, and it's just like he gives them a hug. He's like, "Oh my goodness!"
Because he thought Ryan had died.
Huh?
He thought Ryan had Ryan like wasn't showing up on the sensor, so he thought he was gone.
He like went off and found them. He's just like, "I'm so glad you're alive," and they hug, and Bella gave them a weird look, and I was like, I clocked it, like, what is this look about? And then she just dipped. She was just like, I can't do this family bonding thing. You cute, but if you come with people, I can't do this right now. So she leaves. And I was just like, why did she give him this weird look? And I was like, at the end, I was like, is it because she was like, oh, you have a white parent too? It just seems she was just like, huh. And then she disappeared.
She was gone.
She was like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah. So they are all like literally in the first 2 to 3 minutes, the dregs, which are the kind of the big bad, infiltrate the hotel, and then the number of hotel guests goes from like 28 to like the 9 of them or something. Maybe there was 10 of them. There's a lot of them. But like 9 of these main characters. And then they are, and also at the same time, the Hopper virus knocks out like the atmospheric stuff to help keep them safe in the hotel.
Is that what was happening?
Yeah, that's why they had to kind of leave.
Yeah. I missed it, why they had to leave.
Yeah.
I was just like, I guess we're leaving now.
Benny got.
Yes.
In the Hopper...
And that's part of what I'm just realized I'm also confused about. So, like, Ryan and them were not showing up on the scanners. Mm-hmm. And, like, so, like, that mean, and Benny wasn't either, but he was clearly still alive also. So I'm just like, well, are there other people who were in that place that, like, we're just chilling, like, well, we made it, and we just didn't make it to the rendezvous point to meet up with all these other characters, but they were marked as dead by the system.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just like, there could have been other people
out
there.
There's a lot of...
There would have been too many people.
There's a lot of questions that come up that we just can't answer because there's not enough time, too many characters. But,
yes,
so
they need to save Benny.
Well, Benny!
Benny!
So the Hopper virus knocks out, like, their defenses because the doctor's first fix is to, like, reset, the membrane or something like that. So it pushes everyone or every non-human out of that like sterilized environment. But then the Hopper virus makes sure like basically blows up that environment so there's no firewall. And then Benny's gone and Vorma is like, we got to go get my mans. So they hop on.
They've been together 85 years, I think it was.
Never been married though. You know, living a bohemian lifestyle. So they hop on a bus to go get her girl to go get her man, and
with like, what did you call them in the Slack?
What did I call them?
The breathe right strips.
Oh yeah. Oh right. So they have to put on these breathe right strips. Well, that's what they were. Like literally, they were breathe right. They were out. They gave you oxygen so you could breathe right, and they also looked like breathe right TM nose strips. I thought that was on purpose. They wanted us to call them that.
That's what they got them. They were just breathe right strips that they were like, look, it's spacey wacy.
Yeah. That's what they were.
Probably just were breathe right strips.
So they put on breathe right strips that had limited oxygen, and I'm like, I'm sorry, if you have...
to the dead again.
They put on these breathe right strips that had limited access to oxygen, and I'm sorry, if you're building a hotel on an orphan planet, which means that it's uninhabitable. This isn't a plane where you have the little thing drop down. Even the plane with the drop down thing has more oxygen capacity than that damn tiny strip. So if your whole shit messes up, you got what? You got like an 18 pack of those, and we're just supposed to, and they last for what, 20 minutes? It's a bad system.
And then if you keep talking,
right?
The homegirl was mad at the doctor later because she was just like, you keep talking. That's why your oxygen is at red already.
Yeah. You're just not supposed to talk. Can't figure it out. You got a limited supply of oxygen. That Yeah. Benny was good, though, because Benny had an oxygen tank. So...
And they thought that that's why they were after Benny, because they're like, well, maybe they wanted his access to oxygen, and they're like, no.
No.
So they're on this
transport.
truck, and they're like,
they're on a tour
Benny.
of midnight.
Oh yes.
All the references.
Lots of callbacks, basically. And at some point they find Benny. Like they're like, we have to go into the territory of the dregs in order to get him. And I'm just like, well, this seems like a really bad plan. Like everything just kept, like, I know, like, that's how conflict in, like, TV works, and it's just like everything keeps going wrong. Throw your characters up a tree and then throw rocks at them. But like, I don't know, some of the logic behind some of the decisions, it's like the doctor wants to go save Benny because Verma's so sad and so, like, distraught. But then, like, none of it works out in any way.
And they're immediately like, we gotta go. Like, well, why did we come in the first place?
Right, like, they go through all this effort to get out there, and then they're like, well, we have to go into this territory. But Kane's like, no, we can't do this. And then she's like, fine. And then they're like, okay, well, we're gonna be in their hive. And, like, well, we're gonna go do that. And then they meet, they, like, run into some dregs, and somehow Benny is there. They never show Benny. No. They never, like, make it clear.
Which gave me Silence of the Library vibes of Dave.
Right, where it's just like, he's just outside.
Or not library, not that one. The, Angels. Where he's talking to the dude on the thing.
Oh,
but he is an angel.
Yeah.
I think his name was Dave, too.
Mm-hmm.
Comfy chairs.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like, but they were showing the dregs, and so I'm like, what did they do to him? Like, we don't ever. The characters are also like, what did they do to him? Because he's like, Verma, I have 2 questions. 1, will you marry me? Which, like, dude.
Now it's not the time.
Considering your next question, that's cruel. That's pretty cruel. Like, right. Will you marry me? You just need to know for your own self assurance, I guess. But, like, y'all been together 85 years.
And his next question was, will you kill me?
It was...
And then Kane gets separated, and then Kane's like, well, I killed him. But we didn't get any visual of it. Like, it was all very strange.
Right.
It was a lot of show or tell, don't show.
Because we don't know how Kane survived.
Right, and then Kane sacrifices herself and then just shows up in the third act, and you're like, what's going on? I thought you were dead. So much. Been dead.
And then that's not the only characters that are in this episode.
Okay, right.
That's already a lot.
So let's just go through. This episode had too many characters, too many new relationships, and too many conflicts between characters that we don't know. So I want to go through the characters and their conflicts that we meet in this episode. Yeah. And this isn't really even counting the fam. I mean, we'll say the Doctor and the fam are there. They're characters. We're not even going to go into their conflicts because who has the time? There's Bella and Kane. Bella is the, she calls herself a hotel critic, but she's actually a unemployed nobody who's flirting with Ryan. But she's not actually an unemployed nobody. She's a terrorist, and her mother is Kane, and she's trying
she is a terrorist.
She's trying to murder her mother and ruin her life's work because her mother abandoned her. Okay, girl, just get a hobby.
Or like,
see a therapist. My mom abandoned me, so I'm going to find her and ruin her life.
Right.
And then be stuck on this orphan planet?
Right, because then how was she... Well, I guess she had teleports to be able to escape.
How? She was blowing up the whole thing.
Exploding. Well, she had a teleport ready, I think, for herself.
Okay, girl.
I don't
know. She got it. That's her plan.
Big Gryffindor energy.
Right. Big Griff energy. Then we have Vorm and late-stage capitalism. This was... Kane kept yelling at this man to go put himself in life-threatening situations. That's the job. I didn't get them. Well, that's the job, Vorm. It's like, well, you don't pay me enough. What is my healthcare plan? Can I quit this job?
Was this in the contract?
Right. And it was very Kane and Vorm. I thought it stood out to me. They were very militarized. Like, for her to be a hotel owner and runner. Like she wasn't business person and detached.
She was very much a military commander.
Yeah, a military commander for a vacation that holds 30 people. What's going on? And kept yelling at Vorm that this is the job, and I kept being like, quit. Kablam has to be hiring. You know?
They have to be.
It's a big universe out there, Vorm. You know, get something with a little less danger. You wanted to be a bell.
He dies.
He dies. He dies fighting the Dreg. I'm like, this man wanted to be a concierge at a hotel and ended up.
He's like, I got my hospitality degree.
Right.
I studied hard.
Food and bev,
and here I
got
am
it.
with a gun.
Food handler certificate, got it. And Kane hands this man a gun.
I'm ready.
Right. He's like, I'm trying to make, group activities and leisure time. And she's like, here's a semi-automatic. Go kill some dregs. Just seems unfair.
It's pretty unfair.
Then we have Nevi and Silas. Nevi is like the mechanic or the fixer guy, but he can't fix nothing.
He's
terrible at his job. Silas is his like protege son, who doesn't even live with him. He lives with his mom, but he's like, it's more interesting here than at my mom's house. So he just showed up. And I'm also like, and Nevi was kind of mad at him about it, but I'm like, Nevi, you're terrible at your job, and Silas is doing it, so,
And I'm like, he's just always this terrible at his job.
I think
and
so.
And is just very lucky that his son showed up.
To be honest, I think he got hired off of Silas's work.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's really Silas's assistant. But, like, when people come around, he's like, I'm the mechanic, and he's just a boy.
Yeah.
It's this elaborate ruse. And then we have Verma and Benny! And they love each other and travel and love to scream each other's names and wear matching hats. Benny wants to get married.
Sounds right.
Verma wants to scream Benny's name in precarious situations in which you should be quiet.
The mission.
And ruining
the mission. Ma'am.
Yes.
We are all life or death dying. Benny is in danger, but so are you.
Right.
So you screaming his name is not going to help you get him. Right. It is going to further prevent you from getting to him by either calling the dregs and putting them in your way or you dying as well.
Yeah, losing all your oxygen yelling his name. Gave me very much Ron Hermione vibes in the Malfoy Manor when he was just screaming. Meanwhile, Harry's over here trying to figure out an escape plan.
Trying to come up with a plan.
And Ron is just like, Hermione! It's
like,
useless.
It's not helpful, sir.
Not helpful.
And then the thing with Verma is that, like, I don't know, it was just, this episode was also really depressing. Like, obviously, there's the big reveal at the end, which is just, like, super depressing. I mean, and, like, a very real thought that people are thinking about right now in real life. But, like, to have, like, the nice old couple both die is really depressing. Like, why would we...
And also, so, like, we're, like, counting out all these people, right? Belle dies, Kane dies, Vorm dies, Nevi and Silas get away. Right? Verma dies, Benny dies.
They got away before. I thought they were still at the end when the TARDIS crew gets busted, like, lifted off.
They're on the transport too when the TARDIS crew gets lifted off. They go back to where they were transported from.
By then, I was blinking a lot and missing a lot. But, so Verma, like, sacrifices herself so that they can escape, I guess because Benny's already gone. So she's like, well, there's nothing left to live for. After all these years, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I feel like because there's so many characters, we barely spent any time with them. She spent most of the episode screaming his name and kind of ruining the thing. And so by the time she's like, I'm giving myself up for y'all, I was just like, okay, that's one less person to worry about.
Much. Goodbye. Not goodbye, because I did like her. She was like, they were likable. It was just, you're not bringing anything. You're not helping. Very unhelpful.
At all.
Likable, but very unhelpful. Yeah, I think, okay, so then also we had Ryan and Bella, and they were, flirting and going on, but then Belle turned out to be a whole fraud, and Ryan was like, yo, you're, I was catfished by a terrorist. you know, and then Belle dies and Ryan's like, go back for them, and I don't know. That wasn't happening. And then we had the other characters were humans and the environment, and humans versus dregs. That's too many things in an hour episode. Or it was like 40 minutes. It felt
was
even
probably an hour
quicker.
It was more than an hour, though, because it wasn't an hour of, like, American television. It was more than that.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was still going at, like, 9:00 whatever. I was just like, oh, this one's long. And I know, like, commercials, but usually the commercials still get it to, like, 9:01 or 9:02 or whatever. So it was a little longer, and unless there was, like, longer commercial breaks or something.
Well, I mean, BBC America did bring back the sneak peeks of the scene that's just about to happen.
I hate it.
Which, you know, so useful.
And I just realized that I didn't see the scene when it happened. Like, I don't remember paying attention to that.
Yeah.
There was somewhere in the middle where I was losing it, and then I was just like, okay, I kept up with what I could keep up with, because there was so much going on. I was just like, well, I don't care about that part anymore, and so my brain was just filtering it out.
Yeah. It was too much. It was all...
So at some point, it's like, it was supposed to be this big twist, I guess, but they were so heavy-handed with the, like, Earth metaphors, even at the beginning, where it was just like, yeah, this is one of those orphan planets where rich people leave, and I was just like, that sounds really familiar. Yeah. So by the time that we get to, oh my gosh, this is Earth in the future, I was just like, well, I said that.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't as much of a surprise, and I can't tell if they really wanted it to be a surprise, or if they were just like, they'll figure it out, and we just gotta confirm it at some point.
It was definitely just one of those, well, that tracks.
Right.
I mean,
it could have mutated humans who, like, learned to, like, survive on carbon dioxide instead of oxygen, because there is no oxygen.
Which also is not how that works. And, like, I am not by any means a sciencey person, but, like,
me neither.
Plants don't breathe. I do remember plants don't breathe carbon dioxide. Like, photosynthesis is the thing that makes the stuff that they output oxygen.
Oxygen?
Yeah.
But they do need carbon dioxide.
They do need it, but it's
not
that they breathe in carbon dioxide and exhale out oxygen.
Right.
Because photosynthesis, literally, I know that word is important in that ecosystem. Get at me, 10th grade biology teacher. Is it biology? I don't even know what that is. No. Environment.
Earth science?
Huh?
It might be earth science.
Earth science?
Maybe earth science.
Yeah.
Earth science Twitter can correct us.
Right.
And let us know how it
actually works. I don't know how it actually works. I just do know it don't work like that. That was a very overly simplified explanation.
Right.
Yeah, because that's how the doctor is talking a lot, and her breathe right strip is emptying, and then she takes a big deep breath from a dreg who's exhaling, and then it's like full up again. And I'm like, also, that's not how that works.
That's not how that works, because then I could just have a plant in my house. And I know it's supposed to be better for your, like, whatever, but I don't think you can just have a plant and just like, breathe up on it.
And be like, lungs full. I have hours left to go with one deep breath. That's, like, not how that works. Yeah, it was really heavy-handed. It was very... the monologue at the end was very Captain Planet, a special episode. And it wasn't...
Sailor Moon Says, like...
Yeah.
Like, 90s, like, terrible anime dubs where they're like, the special lesson at the end of this episode is that you should love your friends.
Right. And I don't actually think that was that offensive. Had it just been very simply... Like I said, like, the fam versus the dregs, like, figuring that out, and then, like, it's on Earth. But you added all those people and all of their interpersonal conflicts, and then I'm like, what? Why? I'm tired. Like, it was really messy.
And it reminded me of Rosa, but it still didn't have the same... Like, when at the end of Rosa, she's like, this is the constellation, and this is what Rosa does in the future. And I felt like, okay, this is very, like, after-school special, but it didn't feel... It was still, like, a natural thing, I think, for her to, like, say to this cast of characters who, like, kind of didn't know who Rosa Parks was, and, like, who kind of, like, had to be reminded of her legacy and things like that. So at least they had, like, built it into these characters, like, okay, y'all need a reminder, this is what happens in your like, past, or whatever. And people, you know, you have a problem with it. I don't think it's perfect. But with this one, it was just, because at least it was, like, more of a dialogue in Rosa. It was just like, oh, and she does this? Yeah, she does that. You know, like, but she's literally just, like, kind of lecturing the companions who don't really have anything to say. And the thing that pissed me off is that, like, okay, so they leave Kane and Bella, or whatever, and they don't even attempt to go back. Like, you have a time machine. You have the TARDIS. Like, even if the Doctor knows that she can't, she doesn't even try. They don't even mention it.
That actually doesn't bother me that much. I don't think that the Doctor does that as often as we would like to think. The Doctor does, like, people do die and she keeps moving. Like, it does happen.
The team at the end, it was not confirmed that they were like, they died. Like, they died because, like, you couldn't survive that, but that was part of the thing, is, for me, is that, like, they were left literally in the middle of this very precarious situation, and they didn't even attempt, because Graham was like, they'll be fine, she's fine, to Ryan.
That was dumb.
So it was just like, you're giving this boy an impression that this girl he really liked is just gonna be fine, when they were left in literally a terribly, like, precarious situation where it's like, they're going to die.
Yeah, they were outnumbered.
With no guns, like, one weapon. And for the Doctor to, like, spend all this time speechifying and then not even pretend. Like, the Doctor lies. Like, she lies in this episode. She's just like, yeah, I totally only knew that it was Earth, like, right before. And she's, like, in her feelings about Gallifrey and stuff. So, like, it all makes sense, and the Doctor lies is a consistent thing on the show. But, like, for the Doctor to not even pretend, for Ryan's sake, to be like, oh, well, we can't go because it's a bubble universe, or we can't go because, you know, it's in a different timeline. Like, even that would, like, assuage that the Doctor tried. Not because the Doctor goes back for people, but because of the fam. Like, these people made these connections with this group of people, especially Ryan. And so that for it bothered me that they spent all this time on the speech, but didn't spend any time trying to save these people that they left in the middle of nowhere.
But I also think the speech was saying, you know, and I don't know why she was preaching at the fam, but the speech was saying, like, this is one possible future. It's like, we wouldn't, if we went back and saved them, it would solidify that this future had to happen. But she's like, you have time in this moment. You don't have that much time, but you still have time to save the planet, and this never happened. Like, it never even gets to this point. Like, this isn't inevitable that the Earth becomes an orphan planet. And I got that. I also fundamentally didn't care if she went back to get them. Who were they? There are too many of them. You know.
Fair, yeah.
Cool. And Bella's whole plan was dumb. And so I felt like she needed to be punished. Like, maybe not death, but also, death, because she killed a bunch of people. She killed a bunch of people. Kane killed a bunch of people. Like, they both needed to be punished. Kane was like, yeah, come on out here. I know that there are these monsters that I can't control, but, you know, give me your coin. For my whatever. Like, they were both very negligent, and I'm just, okay, cool.
That's fair points, which is funny considering my next one. But, because if Bella indeed died at the end of this episode, that's 3. Chibnall has killed 3 black people, 3 black women, since his run started a season ago, and that's not including the bill before that. And so I'm just like, it's on site for Chibnall. Like, this was his one last chance, and he ain't write this episode, but he approved it and signed off on it and cast that girl and just let her be black like that.
Just let her be a black terrorist who gets got at the end. And I just... And also, like, way too... Is she related? Who is that? Is she... What is her relationship to Martha Jones? You know what?
She must be her, like, future, you know, her and Mickey have descendants upon descendants. Because, like, literally, I kept looking at her face like, is it racist of me, a black person, to say that this black girl looks like another black girl?
Gia Ray. But it wasn't even, like,
strong.
It wasn't just looking like her, which she did. But it was like, man, like she was.
The mannerisms. She definitely would have.
Did she watch Martha Jones' story and was like, okay, got it? Like,
it was. I was worried that it was just me, but it was very Martha.
Also, hilariously, her name is Gia Ray. So then I like look it up, and because of Google and who I am, it's like Gia Gunn from RuPaul's Drag Race. Sorry. It's just funny when apparently she's a singer.
Oh. Like she was cool.
She's like her very new because like there's nothing that comes up. Mm-hmm. She's got an official Instagram account and a website.
She's Freema's little
but
sister.
She's like it is.
It's uncanny.
Uncanny. So much of it, I was like, this is a choice, right? Like this is a.
It felt like it had to be.
Like, she knows what she's doing. This isn't an accidental
I don't know.
She's a singer-songwriter. Professional liar. Interesting. Her Instagram. She looks like she would be on Love Island. Just from her Instagram.
Fair.
People are on her Instagram being like, I hope the doctor make you a regular companion. But she dead, though. She is. She dead.
Well, I had 5 seconds of hope at the end, and then the doctor didn't even pretend to go back, so she must be dead.
She dead, though. But she is.
Okay, Ryan rants and raves. Ryan is adorable. He's the worst flirt, but very cute anyway, so then you're just like, well, you're terrible at this, but you're lucky you're cute.
No, I mean, I think also being terrible at it made it work.
Yeah.
Like, I see what you're doing. His physical comedy.
Oh my gosh.
When she said, the bats are just in your head, it's a hallucination. And like, or no, when she first goes this, and then the leg, she goes to catch him, he's bloop. That was the first one, and I was like, oh my God. And then she said the bats, and he was like, get the bats out. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, they told us what was going to happen.
But it was
I still wasn't prepared.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Because of Tosin's delivery, like physical delivery. Like he commits to these gags.
He's so good.
But they're also so subtle because it's not like a slapstick kind of show where it's like always up in your face with how like physical he is. Like it's usually like they've panned away. He's just doing something in the background.
Like the cinematographer I guess maybe the second AD, the second director, does a very good job of like where they like the blocking of it. So it's he's always like in your frame, but not like it's not center stage.
Not
center at all. So you're not really supposed to be.
By the time he was like pushing the bats away, they'd moved on. But he's still in frame.
The camera was literally following the doctor walking away, but he's in frame being like, get the bat! Get the bat! And I'm just like, I could watch an hour of that.
Right, which is why it should have been that just like they have to save Ryan from this like weird hallucination while they're on this planet, and like the dregs could still attack, but we didn't need all those extra people.
We didn't need all the extra people.
We have a cast full of people.
We do.
Who are ready, willing, and able. They're able. Like the talent here is here. And they just won't let them shine.
Yeah.
Let Ryan shine.
And
like,
I think too,
I appreciated that. But like I was just like, okay, and then what else?
And I do think, like, had she not been a terrorist with a bad plan and, like, horrible logic, I do think that, like, his flirting with Bella and, like, flirting with her and the fam, like, Yaz and Graham's reaction to him flirting and, like, making, like,
so
teasing him, and he could, like, he's, like, trying to keep his suave, but also trying to be, like, leave me alone and embarrassed, like, holding
guys,
both of those.
Chill.
So good. Like, so good.
Like, just give us more of that. Like, the interaction between the group that we have and that we know and love. They keep adding all these extra people. And splitting them up.
I know. I don't understand it. But yeah, so they both connect over their like tragic backstories, and this was one of those things where I was, so I know you're talking about like how many black women have died in Chilmo's short run already, but it was also that was one of the like race things. Where I was
his mother is also a black woman.
Yeah, I was like, but the thing was, I was like,
count her. It's on site, Chips. It's on site.
But yeah, I was also just like, do we have to have oppression Olympics as flirting?
Right,
like
because
tragic flirting.
And that's the thing that I thought of, because it's like piggybacking off of that is the idea that like they don't mention Grace, and I'm like, that's the more recent like death
Loss.
for him.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, he doesn't even mention it. But then on the other hand, I was just like, well, that would just be like, well, I've lost more than you because I have. It would just be like tragedy overload.
Yeah.
And that's just like again, this whole episode's actually just really depressing.
I know, and
even the cute flirting is like, okay, your dad died, my mom died, let's bond over that.
I know, to me, that was like the biggest thing for me, was just like, can't we just have cute banter? Like, can't we just have that and not have it also be like laced in tragedy? Like,
right, because she was already gonna be either die, if not die, then like they were going to be separated. Like,
but she was already
also a continual presence in his life. Like, we just know that going into this episode. Like, anytime they like start meeting somebody, it never lasts. So like, we didn't need the like sadness. Like, the sadness at the end from their like separation and like she's probably dead is already sad enough without like their flirting.
It's literally the Star Trek problem, which I know you don't go to, but whenever a main crew member on Star Trek meets up with a long lost, like a friend who they're really good friends, they're best friends with. Oh, although we're real tight and we're seeing each other, like we're at the same space station together. We're like, you know, just reconnecting. How you been? I miss you. Like, you about to die. Or the friend, yeah. Whatever, there's like, or there's like another crew member, an ensign or something, like you ain't never seen him. He's not a part of the main crew. And everyone talks about how much they love working with him, and oh my God, he's one of my best crew members. Like, oh, you about to die. All of Star Trek is based on in these ships, but you can't focus on, like, these ships have thousands of crew members or people on them. You know?
And they are trying to be realistic about how many people are here, but like they always forget.
Focus on those people.
Yeah.
So whenever we meet a new person, you're just like,
it's like they've always been here.
Yeah, that's always been here, or that is like really close to a main cast member, but you never seen them before. It's like all of a sudden Connie shows up on the Star Trek Enterprise, and I'm like, Connie, how's it been? I haven't seen you since that conference on Optum Prime. Like, oop, Connie about to get got. That is,
dang it.
You hate to see it. But that is, I mean, Doctor Who does that. You know what I mean? Absolutely. It's like, oh, you made a connection.
I'm thinking about that episode we watched for Blue Ballot Box, where Martha like meets that boy.
Yeah,
and like
you make a connection
with the Sun Devil.
You make a connection,
and they kiss at the end randomly. I just remembered that Ryan and Belle kiss,
and then suck their thumb, which
no.
Again, as someone who sucked my thumb for a very, very long time, that just. I'm not ashamed, but it's not ever going to be a part of my flirting.
No, it's not romantic. And the Doctor Who Twitter today was like, "Who knew that sucking your thumb would be meaningful?" And I was like, "Was it?"
It's not.
It was weird. It was real weird.
It was real weird.
It was real weird.
They could have waved and had a longing look, and it would have done the same thing.
It would have done the same.
It would have been more effective. Yeah. So anyway.
But yeah, I just feel like they didn't mention Grace on Ryan's behalf, and it's just been like, I don't know, it just feels like Grace's death isn't his. It feels like it's very much Graham's. Like, so far, even just the season, like, Graham's mentioned it, and they haven't really gotten to Ryan's, like, feelings about it, which would continue, you know, like, it's not like a one-and-done thing.
Yeah, it's also like, it's like they forget that, because, and I understood when he's talking to Bella about how, like, he's like, you know, my mom died too, and you wouldn't, like you said, the kind of like, you don't want to like pile on, like my mom died, and then the person that raised me, my grandmother, she died too. Like, you don't want to pile on, but like,
yeah.
Grace was not, it wasn't just like
his grandma.
Yeah, or I mean,
that was also his mother figure.
Your grandmother is also just a very important figure, even if they are just your grandmother. But like, she was his mother figure for a long time, and nothing.
No reference that. Like, I honestly would have not rather, but like I would have understood more if he'd mentioned Grace instead of his mother. Yeah, because it's more present in his mind. And, like, it's a fresh loss for him. So it's just like, yeah, my nan just died. She raised me. And that would have, like, covered the, like, missing piece of his mother to begin with, you know? Right. So it just feels like Grace is not really Ryan's grief to claim. And I hope they get better at that. But honestly, freaking Yaz gets nothing. Again.
She gets an annoying... Not annoying, but annoying.
She was annoying.
Verma was annoying. Yeah. I feel bad about it, but...
It's true.
The game is the game.
It's true, though.
It's true, though. She was.
There was one look. I forget what moment it happened in, but the doctor's being the doctor, and Yaz is looking at her, and I was just like, she sees it.
I'm really excited for... And I don't want to say I'm really excited because it also could never come. Right. But for learning and meeting and like having that moment where we really like understand Yaz. And is it queer? Is she just queer coded or is she queer? Like, you know, because I also don't think that the writers may not envision her as queer, and I don't think that's... I mean, I think it would be awesome. I really want that, but I don't think that that's, like, inevitable, I guess. Right. But we still don't know enough about her. She hasn't had a... flirtation.
I would love to know more about her as a person before having her suddenly become romantically entwined with the doctor or anyone else.
The master, you mean? He was giving her mad looks, and listen.
Oh, of course he was.
That's the reason why, to me, that solidified that Yaz is queer. Because, like, if Sasha's looking at me with them eyes, I'm thinking about it, you know?
Right.
I'm intrigued. Yeah. You know, I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but we can have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Let's explore the possibilities.
Just tell me what you think.
Right.
Like, what you try to do. What you trying to say, you know, I'm open to learning.
Right.
What you trying to do, you know?
It's just a conversation. You know, you can't have friends? I don't know. I'm just saying. Yaz didn't even blink. She was like, huh? I have something on my face? What's going on? Why are you looking at me like that? I'm like, girl.
Have you not seen him?
Have you see him? Girl. That's another thing about this episode that I was not happy with. We had so many characters. None of them were Sasha. I know he's not going to be in every episode, and that wouldn't work. It wouldn't do justice to the season, to the master. Like, it's just not. It's not the way that role works. But also,
it was lacking.
It was a gaping hole in the storyline and in my heart.
Well, honestly, the master deserves better than this episode.
True.
Also, the master have elevated it, but also he's not worthy.
No.
Or the episode is not worthy.
Yeah. He would have just
Sasha,
been...
at least.
And the master is a bad guy. He's a bad dude. Okay?
We see it.
He's not a hero.
No. I don't even think he deserves redemption, but he's great to look at.
Right? Redemption doesn't need to be the end all be all. I just want to see the journey. You know? Redemption doesn't need to be the finish line. I'm just interested in the race. Just want to check in every once in a while. And by every once in a while, I mean all the time.
Once an episode. Just like, you know how in season 4, and we'll move on after this, but you know how in season 4, like, Rose just kept showing up in the background places? That's what they need to do with the Master.
Even this season was Missy. Remember before we figured out who Missy was? She just, like, with the end of the episode, she'd be like,
oh. Kept showing up like, hey, I'm
sipping her tea. How's it going? And you're like, who are you? What are you up to?
Yeah, that's what we need.
That's all we need.
Just a check-in. Quotes from the TARDIS.
Ooh, Chile. Sorry. We're gonna have to have like Ryan rants and then like Sasha stands.
Yes.
Master
I think
moments.
We might lack of master moments. Absolutely.
Okay. Quotes from the TARDIS. This quote. If you had to pick a quote to describe who you were as a person, this would be the quote I chose from this episode.
Interesting.
I'm going to sit over there for 3 hours, then I'm going to get up, and I'm going to sit somewhere else, and then cocktails.
I mean,
I'm like, Graham, you're not needed here, but I appreciate your vacationing philosophy. I like the way you holiday, minus the Speedo.
Please. I'm so glad that they didn't have time. He didn't have time to pack it. He was already wearing one, but he didn't have time to de-dress. Because the emergency was afoot. And that's really probably the reason why. The emergency said, we don't need to see that. So let's just, like, speed things along here. Yeah. Speed up, so no Speedo. It's just a drill. Not a drill! The doctor is always good at predicting what people are saying on the ground, and that's a good skill.
Also, just, like, love the, like, we're just laying it out here. We're airing all our laundry. Like, I'm gonna lie to you. I'm gonna show you psychic paper and give you 5 different options of who I am.
Until I get
but I'm gonna air all your business.
It's probably just a drill. Not a drill. This is just, they're just doing a test. It's not a test.
If I had crayons and half a can of Spam, I could build you from scratch. Now, out of my way.
I could build you from scratch.
She said, do you know who I am?
Crayons and a half a can of Spam, and yet somehow I see it.
I see it too.
You know, like, humans are kind of just Spam, just colored over.
Mm-hmm.
You
put
know?
us in an incubator. Put the Spam in an incubator. Mm-hmm. You know?
And just, like, blobs become human.
Yep. I see it.
What just happened? If I had to guess, the doctor.
I feel like that should be, like, a tagline. Or it would be, like... like, in the trailer, you know? Like, the line they, like, linger on.
Mm-hmm. Always. Every episode.
Yeah. 3/8 of a plan. 2/8. All I've got is a letter P. But sometimes it's all I need.
It's all she needs.
Anytime the doctor is describing the plan or the status of their plan is a good time.
Absolutely. 12% of the plan. I forget some of the other ones, but they've usually been golden. This one was another one.
Has a plan. I have the start of a plan.
Yeah. I'll get to it by the end of this sentence.
Yeah, I'll get to it by the end of the sentence. I also love the, like, thinking about it from, like, just a production standpoint. Like, the writers, like, not the writers room, there isn't a room, but, like, the writers giving themselves, like, how many different ways can we, like, work with this plan line,
like, this episode's, but also the plan in the episode was also only 3/8 of a plan.
It was the letter P.
It was 3/8 of a plot.
It was
absolutely
just the letter P, which, like, he
I'm
said,
also thinking
plot, plot and players. Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
Definitely players. Players was a big time. Like, we just need more characters because the plot is getting away from me. So just add more characters, and that'll solve it.
We're good. We're golden.
But I also think about it as, like, the writer of the episode being like, well, I only have, you want me to write this one? I only got 3/8 of an idea, but I guess we're going to get there. And then they just find a way to include it in the episode.
Yep.
I only have the letter P.
Well, what's the next episode?
Oh, my gosh.
We're going to meet Tesla?
Yes, but I looked up the title and I was like, I'm not doing... you don't have to do this. one.
Oh.
Well, and I say that because the title is Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, which, yikes. But also I was like, Robin's gonna be like, no.
I really like Tesla as like a historical figure. And I also really, because he gives me like steampunky vibes, and I'm also really, really, really wanting Sasha to show up in Tesla's era in those clothes with like the Tesla machine, you know, the electric like framing his beautiful face. I see it, and I want it. But I also, if it's gonna be scary,
you're gonna get it. Yeah, just Night of Terror was like, oh, that went extra hard. Yeah. I am intrigued by this, but mostly only because I love the Prestige.
I love the Prestige.
Tesla heavy. Tesla. I mostly know about Tesla because of the car
the Prestige.
And because of the Prestige. The Prestige was first.
Yes. I think it is also like a librarian's Warehouse 13. I know about Tesla because of the Prestige and because of the Sci-Fi Channel, and I like what I've known. So check us out on blackgirlscreate.org and follow us on Follow us on Twitter at WeBlackandNerds. I'm at Robin, ROBYN_Ravenclaw, and Connie's at Constar24. Use the hashtag Tarbus. Let us know your thoughts about this episode and your thoughts and hopes for the season coming up, and, you know,
how photosynthesis works.
And carbon dioxide. And if you have a good picture of Sasha that you want to share, throw that in there too. I'm just saying. Ryan or Mandy
we'll accept it.
Or 13.
Shout out to Caitlin, because they came up with 13 and her companions.
And her companions. Right, also, sorry. I don't know if we mentioned this. We didn't, because we were so discombobulated. We've decided it's not Doctor Who anymore. It's Dr. Bay. Mm-hmm. Dr. Who boy. Dr. I emojis.
Yeah, because, you know, Jody is giving looks.
Jody's giving looks. Mandeep's giving looks.
Mandeep's,
Tosin,
you know,
out here hair. Being rude. Tosin's fingers, I just need y'all.
Like, we've veered way off.
I'm sorry.
The end of this episode.
He doesn't exist. He's unreal. My brain rejects him every single time. I'm like, he's a computer simulation.
We learned that he is 27 for reasons.
Which was a problem. I was so happy thinking he was 19 so I could, like, focus.
Yeah, just, like, section him off in your brain.
Yeah, just like, no, don't need to go there. Now that I know he's 27, I can actually, like, look at his fingers. I've never seen hands so built for holding. They're gorgeous.
Okay.
Sasha's got that face. You know, it's just a problem. But we would love to talk to you about it. On Twitter. In a very PG-13.
Yes.
Purely aesthetically appreciative.
Yeah.
You know.
Keep your thirst levels where you like them on your timeline.
Right. We respect that.
But just, you know, we're like a max PG-13 squad here.
Yeah.
So let's just
keep that in mind. And you can also join our Slack, where we have a channel dedicated to conversations about Doctor Who.
And Dr. Bay.
And Dr. Bay.
And companion.
Dr. Who boy.
Good transition back there. Please rate and review this thirsty mess on iTunes and wherever your podcasts are found. And just let us know how ridiculous we are.
We will get it together. I feel like by episode 4 or 5, we'll have settled into the handsome, into the pretty.
But as soon as we get it together, we're going to be like, we got this. We're immune. And then Sasha's going to show back up again.
It's
over.
And
I'm going to be like, well, this is done. It's devolved into madness.
I stayed up till like 2 in the morning looking at his Instagram.
He's got a pretty good Instagram. There are puppies.
I know.
He talks about mental health. It's great. Tarbus. Jarvis is a part of Hard Knock Media. We've joined the Nerds of Color podcast network, including the podcast Hard Knock Life, Southern Fried Asian, DC TV Classics, Axe Spy Girls, Desi Geek Girls, We're Not All Ninjas, and That Moments. You can check all these out at hardknocknocmedia.com.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror.
Yikes.
If the master don't show up, I don't show up.
That's cool. I have your backup on retainer.
All right. Thank God.
And good night.
Good night.
The black girls have the box.